We live in a world that is just overflowing with information. Seriously, deciding what to believe can feel, well, impossible sometimes. But what if you had a simple toolkit to help you cut right through all that noise? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to build. So let's dive in.
This has to feel familiar, right? Every single day, it's like we're on this massive high-speed highway. But instead of cars, it's information. You've got news headlines, social media posts, ads, opinions from friends, all of it rushing towards you at full speed. It's a lot.
So, with all of that coming at you, here's the big question, the one that's really at the heart of why we're here today. In the middle of all that traffic, how do you decide which lane to trust? How do you actually know what to believe? Yeah, we've all been there. Information overload. It's that feeling of being so overwhelmed you just want to shut it all down. But, just ignoring the noise, that's not really the answer. The real answer is learning how to filter it. And that is our mission here today. We're not just going to talk about the problem, we are going to build the solution. I want you to think of it as your own personal mental toolkit, packed with a few simple, really powerful instruments you can start using right away to find the signal in all that noise. And here it is, our roadmap. This toolkit is honestly beautiful in its simplicity. It's just 3 essential steps. First, we're going to learn to ask, what's the claim? Next up, we'll figure out how to find the argument. And finally, the really fun part, we'll learn how to check for flaws. Simple, effective, and believe me, super powerful.
All right, first up, our most fundamental tool. See, before you can evaluate anything, you have to know exactly what's being said. And that means isolating the central message, or as we're going to call it, the claim.
So, what is a claim really? Well, it's any statement that's put forward like it's a fact. Now, this is the key part. A claim could be true, it could be totally false, or somewhere in between. The only thing that matters is that it's being presented as if it's true. This example just breaks it down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got a fact. Dinosaurs existed. Okay, that's settled science, we're all on board. But look at the right, a claim. Dinosaurs were cold-blooded. Ah, see the difference? It's presented like a fact, but it's actually a point of scientific debate. It's an assertion. And that's the whole job of your first tool. It's kind of like a magnifying glass. When you see a new piece of information, your first step is to just zoom in, cut through all the extra stuff, and isolate that one central claim. Okay, so once you've found the claim, the next logical question is, all right, why should I believe it? And the answer to that is always found in the argument. And that brings us to tool number 2. Now, when I say argument, I'm not talking about a shouting match. In critical thinking, an argument is something very specific. It's a conclusion, which is really just the main claim, that is being supported by one or more reasons. It's the why behind the what. Let's try this out on a real-world example. Take this argument against bottled water. We've all heard something like this, right? At first glance, it sounds pretty convincing. But let's use our toolkit and see what's actually going on underneath. So, to find the argument, the first thing we need to do is pull out the reasons. What evidence is actually being used to support that main point? So the author gives us 3 key reasons. There have been some health alerts, it costs silly money, and tap water is just as good and it's free. These are basically the pillars holding up the entire argument. Okay, so if those are the supporting pillars, what are they holding up? What's the destination? What's the main point they're trying to convince us of? And there it is. All of those reasons are designed to lead you to this one single conclusion. You've got reasons working together to support a conclusion. See? Simple, right? Okay, so you've found the claim, you've identified the argument, but here's the million-dollar question. Is it a good argument? This brings us to our third and maybe the most powerful tool, checking for flaws. This is where we get to stress test the logic. Let's test this new tool out. Consider this argument about a frozen lake. It has a reason, it's been safe for the past 4 winters, and it's got a conclusion, so it'll be safe this winter. On the surface, it kind of looks like a solid argument, but is it? So what do you think? Does that logic feel totally solid to you? Just take a second. Can you spot the potential weakness here? What might this argument not be taking into account? If that argument felt a little shaky, you were right on the money. It has a major flaw. This is a classic example of a logical flaw we call anecdotal evidence. It's what happens when we use a few personal, specific examples to make a huge generalization. Yeah, the last 4 winters were safe, but that doesn't tell us anything about this winter's temperature or how thick the ice is today. We see this stuff online all the time, right? Product reviews, health advice, all based on just one person's experience. And with that third tool, our toolkit is officially complete. You now have a powerful 3-part framework you can use to navigate this crazy modern world of information. Let's just quickly review our tools one last time. First, you've got the magnifying glass to isolate the claim. Second, you have the blueprint to map out the whole argument, find its reasons and its conclusion. And third, you have your quality inspection to check for flaws. 3 simple steps to much clearer thinking. Look, this toolkit isn't just some theory. It's designed for that daily information highway we're all on. So the only question left is, how are you going to use it? I'll leave you with this final thought. Using these new tools, what's one thing you're going to look at just a little bit differently today?